mere mortals cannot touch the cup? What are the rules here?
Everybody has their superstitions. But
we've heard that. Yes, right.
I heard you talking about that earlier.
But
some fans won't touch it because they think it's bad luck and they don't want to jinx their team.
Okay.
Players definitely that are still in the league trying to win it, they won't touch it.
They probably won't even look at it, right? They won't even.
Oh, they won't go near it. No. But everybody has their superstitions. Some are stronger than others, I guess.
What's the most superstitious thing you've ever heard of involving the cup?
Just guys that have even won it, they won't touch it. There was a general manager once, because he never won it as a player, even though he won it as the general manager, still wouldn't hoist it over his head or anything.
Whoa.
It was just one of those things where he felt he never won it as a player, so he just felt it, he didn't have the right to do that. It's supposed to be the players, but everybody has their own thoughts about that.
I see. Okay, so the rule is what? So there is no rule about who gets to hoist it and who gets to drink from it, or what are the rules?
The main rule is you're supposed to have your name on it. You're supposed to be one of the winners. So when your name's on it, you have those rights where you can drink from it, you can hoist it, and stuff like that. But fans can touch it. We don't mind them touching it. They can give it a hug or a kiss. We just don't want them to move it or try to lift it themselves.
Are fans allowed to drink from it?
Only if they're in the presence of a player that maybe has a Stanley Cup day and that player wants to share it with them. Then they can do it together.
I will share this with you. I was the late, beautiful human being, Matthew Perry, diehard Kings fan. Yep. I mean, absolutely loved the Los Angeles Kings. He had the cup for a day, and Kopitar was there.
Yes.
And Kopitar was the only one who was allowed to tip it and serve people drinking out of the top of the cup.
Yes.
And so he was following the proper protocol.
He was.
Okay. And I did drink from this cup. From it.
What did you drink from that cup?
I had a glass of red wine.
Okay.
And I poured it in there, and he poured it, Anze Kopitar tipped it, and I drank from this cup. That actually happened in my life, and it was fantastic. And I do not have a photograph of it.
Oh, that's a shame.
No, wow. I do not. But it was just an absolute delight. And Kopitar couldn't have been nicer. He was doing a lot. He was doing a lot of work because that is the rule, and he was following it. That's it.
Yes.
How many times have you had to step in though around this cup?
Once in a while. I mean, when we were with the players, we kind of give them the little rundown of the rules and stuff like that. And they're very respectful. They understand, and we try to let them know that it's better to share it with your family, your friends, people that are more important to you. You shouldn't be going into a bar and sharing it with like 500 other people that you don't even know. But, they do it. You really can't stop them from doing everything. But we just want to make sure the cup isn't in any kind of danger of being damaged. If it gets damaged while we're on the road and we have to take it off the road, then some other players might miss their cup day, and we don't want that to happen.
Of course. Or fans, or days where it's supposed to be viewed by a group of fans, or as you mentioned, sponsors.
Yes.
What's the craziest liquid you've seen placed in?
There's been
cup?
Margaritas made out of it.
Do they salt the rim?
Well, they did once, but we learned that you can't do that because it actually turns the silver black.
Ooh.
So we don't do that anymore. It's just the alcohol that goes in.
So somebody did, in fact, salt the rim of the bowl of the Stanley Cup to serve a margarita.
Wow.
And you learn the hard way that it affects the color of the cup itself.
Yes.
I guess trial and error. Yeah. And drinking.
Has it ever gone missing?
It's missed, the odd connecting flight.
Okay.
What
sometimes
do you mean? Hold on a minute. You
timing.
check this? This thing gets checked?
We have to check it. That's the only way we can fly with it. We'll get to the airport. We'll check in, and then it has to go through TSA like any other oversized baggage.
Right.
Once they check it.
So you've waited at an oversized baggage carousel waiting for the Stanley Cup to come out.
It's the only way to travel.
I get nervous when it's my own bag with my toiletry can in it.
Golf clubs and the Stanley Cup.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. I see the case has a bunch of fragile signs on it. I had a chair shipped from Philadelphia for WrestleMania, and I was just sweating this chair.
Of course.
I can't imagine what you must be feeling like waiting for that case to come out with this cup in it. You must be terrified.
Yeah. The very first time it happened to me, a player came to pick me up, and we were waiting for the cup, and it didn't show up. It wasn't put on the flight. And the poor guy had to go back to a parade in his hometown waiting for the cup, and it never showed. So he had to go through the parade, no cup. I felt bad for the guy, but in the end, the rest of his day was fine. I had to wait at the airport for like 3 hours for the next flight. But what can you do? We have no control over something like that. So you just do the best you can, and go on.
So has the cup ever almost missed its appointment to be presented to a winning team? Like, has it ever almost not made it to the ice?
There was a few years back in Chicago. It was late for the presentation. There was a big rainstorm or something that happened. Just the downpour of the rain flooded all the viaducts and everything. So the roads were kind of shut down, and trying to get from the hotel, I guess, to the presentation, even the police officers were having a tough time trying to get through the roads. So the cup was, maybe it was 10 or 15 minutes late, but it still arrived. But that's the only time. Now there's rules put in place that, if they're waiting out in the parking lot, they're going to be right there at the building to be able to present on time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I have so many more questions. Here's one for you, Howie. Howie Borrow, the cup keeper here. You don't have to give me the details, all right? Don't give me the details. But I would love the name of the player who's held the wildest party you have been to for the Stanley Cup, where even you, who have seen a lot, were like, wow, this one's a rager.
Alexander Ovechkin.
Don't let him answer.
You're leading the witness.
Don't lead the witness.
No. To be honest, people have their minds go wild thinking that there's all these crazy parties. But that's why I'm there now, and my coworkers. We're there to prevent that. Like, we want the players to have fun, but
sure, right.
You got to keep it within a certain.
But so, who's the one that? Give me the one that where it was kind of wild, or
yeah. I haven't been to every party.
Okay,
but,
for you,
I'm just trying to think of
for you. Well, you did have a reaction when he said the word Ovechkin. I mean,
I was at a player's. His uncle had a farm out in Western Canada. Mm-hmm. And so earlier in the day, it was a family-oriented party. Kids and everything were there. So that was like a nice family reunion, barbecue type thing. Mm-hmm. And then later at night, he had this whole elaborate system put up with tents and a dance floor. And he had the strobe lights and the karaoke machines and everything else. And that was pretty crazy. I mean, because they could get as loud as they want. No one was going to hear them and stuff. And,
but, no one was going to complain about somebody screeching out careless whispers or something like that. Hammered at 3 a.m. with the cup. Who was the player who did that? Do you remember that?
Oh, I'm just trying to think now. Yeah, it's.
You're looking at looking at the cup to see if you can see an engraved name.
We have so many events throughout the years. Sometimes it is a blur to try to remember
everybody.
everybody.
I can imagine.
Okay.
I'll think about it, and I will get back to you on that. But,
the cup doesn't have its own first-class seat.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.